A breaking news report announces the outbreak of a new virus at an airport. Those infected become violently aggressive and the airport is soon engulfed in flames. Within 2 months, the virus spreads worldwide, becoming a global pandemic. The virus turns humans into savage, zombie-like beings known as ferals, treated as wild animals. Governments attempt to establish quarantine zones, but civilians protest, insisting the ferals are still human and deserve rights. The military moves into the streets to enforce order, clashing with civilians and worsening the chaos. One afternoon, all television signals suddenly cut out. Abigail and her brother receive a call from their father, who says he must help others and assures them they will be safe if they stay with their mother. Suddenly, noises are heard upstairs and the family flees the house. As they reach the car, a feral cat attacks, killing their mother. Abigail hides beneath the vehicle, watching as the creature also attacks her brother. When police sirens sound nearby, the feral escapes. Moments later, Abigail hears her brother calling to her. Their mother has already turned and attacks him, killing him as well. When Abigail cries out, her mother charges toward her only to be shot dead by a man named Cassius, who saves Abigail. Her brother soon begins to turn and Cassius tells her to close her eyes before killing him. 10 years later, the world is post-apocalyptic. Humanity is scarce and nature has reclaimed the cities. Abigail, now a teenager, hunts in the forest alongside Cassius, who has trained her to survive. She kills a deer with a single shot, though Cassius reprimands her for acting too hastily. That night, they camp in the woods. When a perimeter trap is triggered, Cassius investigates and finds signs of a feral nearby. He calms the horses and shoots a feral that charges at him. Assuming it was a scout from a larger group, Cassius wakes Abigail, and they move on immediately. Over the following days, they continue traveling with Cassius, constantly training her whenever they stop. One afternoon, they spot a vehicle and raise their weapons. A man is shooting at a feral when another attacks him from behind. Abigail tries to help but fires too quickly, killing both the man and the feral. Another creature emerges from the vehicle, forcing Cassius to kill it. Abigail searches the car for supplies while Cassius Mercy kills the wounded man and takes his boots. A radio crackles with incoming calls, but Cassius tells Abigail to ignore it. Soon after, several vehicles arrive and armed survivors surround them. After examining the body, they accuse Cassius and Abigail of killing the man for supplies. When the leader threatens them, Cassius and Abigail strike first, killing 2 attackers and seizing their weapons. Both sides raise their guns ready to fire. A pregnant woman named Megan steps forward trying to calm the situation. Suddenly, the horses panic as a pack of ferals emerges from the trees. Gunfire breaks out as the group fights back, but the ferals quickly overwhelm them, forcing Cassius and Abigail into brutal close combat. The other survivors rely solely on their guns and are quickly overwhelmed by the ferals. One woman tries to throw a Molotov cocktail, but a feral cat attacks her, causing the bottle to explode against a car. The blast throws Cassius aside. One survivor is bitten and attempts to take his own life, but with no bullets left, he eventually turns. The group's leader is seized by a massive feral and beaten to death. Megan's husband is knocked down but manages to fend off his attacker. Abigail helps Megan and her husband into the car while Cassius fights off more creatures before joining them. As they speed away, a feral cat clings to the roof. Cassius slams the brakes, sending it flying. Abigail gathers their supplies and they finally escape. The massive feral roars in fury, realizing its mate has been killed. On the road, Abigail checks their ammunition and finds they are nearly out. Megan explains they are heading toward a riverside settlement. She is 35 weeks pregnant and the baby could arrive at any time. Cassius and Abigail doubt the value of settlements, having seen many collapse. The vehicle soon stalls, forcing them to continue on foot. They reach an abandoned town and decide to stay the night, clearing a building before setting up camp. Megan offers food, but Cassius and Abigail eat only what they hunt, fearing infection. The couple explains they are in radio contact with the settlement, which has supplies and doctors, though reaching it will take about a week and involve danger. Abigail shares that she and Cassius are heading west, hoping to escape by boat. Cassius shows the couple a map to the settlement but refuses to join them, believing the feral pack will seek revenge. Abigail privately argues with Cassius, insisting they should help, but he refuses. That night, the ferals find the abandoned car and follow the trail toward the town. Unable to sleep, Cassius speaks with Megan's husband David. He reveals he always keeps a single bullet in case he is bitten. David has only a cigarette and a badly injured ankle. The two bond and Cassius finally agrees to help them settle. The next morning, Abigail hears a noise and investigates. A feral attacks her, knocking away her gun. She kills it with her machete, then forces a second feral out through a broken window. She nearly falls, but Cassius pulls her to safety. When the ferals reach the building, the group has already fled. One creature triggers a trap and is killed instantly. Later, Abigail recognizes the area and recalls a nearby civilian airport where her father once kept a small plane. Cassius argues it could be a trap, but Abigail and the couple insist. Outvoted, Cassius follows. They soon find an old building and a car beside a man recently shot. Cassius urges them to move quickly. Sensing danger, Abigail searches the building and finds only coffee, missing a family hiding silently inside. Cassius discovers a wheelchair in the car's trunk, which they use to help Megan travel. After they leave, the feral pack arrives and slaughters the hidden family within moments. When they reach the airport, no planes are visible outside. David and Cassius argue over their next move until Abigail discovers her father's hangar. Inside, a small plane remains. David has enough mechanical skill to repair it, and while he works on the engine, Cassius and Abigail search the building. Abigail finds an old photo of herself with her father lying on the floor and quietly hangs it back on the wall. At that moment, the feral pack arrives. The group rushes onto the plane even though it is not fully ready. Cassius fires to hold the ferals back while David manually spins the propeller to start the engine. Abigail struggles with the controls and the plane rolls forward too slowly, allowing the ferals to close in. She finally finds the correct lever and the aircraft accelerates. One feral clings to the door, forcing Cassius to shoot it loose. The plane lifts off and they escape. Soon after, the aircraft begins to fail and lose altitude. Abigail attempts an emergency landing. The plane crashes through trees before hitting the ground, but lands on its wheels. Everyone survives with only minor injuries. Nearby, they find a train station and decide to rest there for the night. Cassius checks the map and realizes it will take 2 more days to settle. They plan to leave at dawn. Abigail checks their ammunition and sees they are nearly empty. Megan shares food with Cassius and he admits she reminds him of his wife. He reveals that when his wife's family was infected, he was forced to kill them and that his wife later took her own life, unable to live with the loss. Cassius also tells a story about a boy from his hometown who was bitten and took days to fully turn. Nearby, David examines his ankle, revealing it is not sprained but bitten. Realizing his fate, David raises his gun but cannot bring himself to pull the trigger. The next day, they continue under the scorching sun. David grows weaker and Cassius notices blood on his leg. After the women walk ahead, Cassius confronts David and confirms the bite. He gives him a choice: confess on his own or be shot if he waits too long. By evening, they reach a house with lights still on. A voice challenges them from inside. Though Cassius senses danger, Abigail steps forward and explains they need help, mentioning the pregnant woman. A man named Norton opens the door with a gun and orders them to place their weapons in a chest outside. Norton invites them in and acts welcoming. Cassius notices the house has electricity, and Norton explains he is an engineer who built systems for power and hot water. He mentions having a wife but avoids explaining where she is. Norton shares bread and vegetables with them and Abigail happily takes a proper shower. Cassius powers up his laptop and looks through old photos, revealing that his wife had been pregnant before the pandemic. Later, Megan confides in Cassius that she is terrified. Since arriving, she has not felt the baby move. She makes him promise to protect her child if something happens to her. That night, Norton offers them wine and explains he has lived there for 20 years. He mentions hearing about the settlement on the radio but says he prefers to live alone. Norton launches into an obsessive rant about humanity's desire to return to its former world. He claims the pandemic is a deserved punishment for environmental destruction and moral decay, comparing the virus to natural evolution in which only the strong survive. Cassius notices a strange knife on the table but Norton quickly takes it away. As David weakens rapidly, he rushes to the bathroom and realizes the infection is spreading. When he returns, he finds everyone else unconscious. Norton has drugged their drinks. Wearing a lab coat and holding a device, Norton recognizes that David is infected and activates it. The sound overwhelms David, dropping him to the floor. Norton explains that it functions like a whistle that only affects the infected. David blacks out. Meanwhile, the feral pack reaches the train station and continues searching. David later awakens to find the group tied up in Norton's basement. Norton calmly records notes, revealing he kept his infected wife caged. He releases her and uses the device to control her, forcing her to attack. Cassius and Abigail fight her off, causing her to turn on David instead. David breaks free and overpowers her, but Norden activates the device again to stop him. Not yet fully turned, David endures the pain and frees the others. Cassius grabs a gun and tries to shoot Norden as they flee upstairs and barricade the door. Norden attacks with an axe. Abigail steals his car keys, while Cassius gathers supplies and punches David, wanting to kill him immediately. The women convince him to wait. As they reach the car, Megan suddenly goes into labor. Norden watches from the house as they drive away, his feral wife snarling behind him. Once they enter the forest, the feral pack gives chase. Lights appear ahead, the settlement. They race toward it, but a fallen tree blocks the road, forcing them on foot. The ferals close in. David runs out of ammunition and realizes he will soon turn. He tells the others to go on and stay alive. After a tearful goodbye, Cassius gives him his last bullet. David lights a cigarette and fights the ferals barehanded, killing several before the massive feral snaps his neck. The remaining ferals pursue the others. Abigail fires to protect Cassius as he carries Megan, screaming for help. The settlement guards hear her and open fire, killing the ferals. The rest retreat into the forest. The survivors are allowed into the settlement. Megan is taken to the medical ward. The next morning, Cassius urges Abigail to leave, insisting people cannot be trusted, but she is too exhausted to respond. Later, the midwife tells Cassius the baby is stable, but Megan has only hours left. Cassius visits her and learns the child is a girl. Megan reminds him of his promise, gives him her family pendant and dies. Elsewhere, Norden wanders through the forest, discovering the bodies left behind. As he continues onward, he sees the settlement's lights glowing in the distance. As the feral pack prepares to attack him, Norden instantly subdues them with his device and declares it is time for revenge. Back at the settlement, Cassius cares for baby Hope, uncertain about the future. Abigail begins bonding with local teenagers and joins a small gathering that evening. Alcohol is shared, and when two guards fall asleep, several teens slip into a tunnel. Abigail follows and discovers a strange remote, but Roderick stops her. He explains the floating settlement is rigged with explosives. If the ferals invade, everything will be detonated, and the only escape is a surface hatch leading to an abandoned dam. The next morning, Norden encounters a guard on a boat and asks for help. He kills the man, then allows a feral to enter the settlement and slaughter the remaining guard. With full control of the pack, Norden orders the assault. Chaos erupts as ferals overrun the settlement. Armed residents fight back. Abigail saves Roderick and quickly organizes a defense. Fighters take high ground and civilians are led toward the dam. Abigail breaks away to find Cassius. As ammunition runs low, the settlement leader tries to flee and is killed. The midwife takes baby Hope from Cassius so he can search for Abigail. Abigail saves two girls from a feral, while Cassius rescues trapped teenagers. They reunite and fight together, blending gunfire and close combat. Spotting an escape route, they move toward evacuation, but Cassius is distracted when he sees Norden. A feral knocks him down, but Cassius kills it. Norden attacks him, ranting about creating a better world. After a vicious struggle, Cassius smashes Norden's control device against a wall until it shatters. Without it, the ferals turn on Norden and tear him apart. The survivors reach the tunnel entrance at the dam and urge Roderick to detonate the explosives, but he hesitates because Abigail has not yet escaped. Back in the settlement, the massive feral attacks Abigail. Cassius strikes it down with an oar. As it falls, Abigail notices a bracelet on its arm, her father's. She freezes in shock. Cassius snaps her out of it and drags her to the hatch. They barely make it inside before the explosives detonate, destroying the settlement and the remaining ferals. Later, the survivors discover one man has been infected. As Cassius tries to calm him, a feral cat attacks, killing the man and turning on Cassius. In a brutal struggle, the creature nearly bites him. This time Abigail waits for the perfect moment and fires a single shot, killing it without harming Cassius. The survivors watch the settlement burn and face an uncertain future. Abigail suggests building a new home at the dam. Cassius reveals he took Norden's notebook, which contains instructions for building a generator. The film ends.